Welcome to Malice and Mystery, where shadows whisper and the unknown beckons. Enter a realm of spine-tingling horror, eerie mysteries, and chilling tales. From real-life paranormal encounters to unsolved enigmas and bone-chilling urban legends, we bring you the darkest stories from the depths of the unknown. Subscribe if you dare, and remember, some mysteries are best left unsolved. The Lost Town Mystery of Black Hollow, a haunting tale of disappearance and discovery. Number 1, the Enigma of Black Hollow. Nestled deep within the shadowy embrace of towering pines and rugged hills, Black Hollow was once a thriving mining town. Its veins rich with silver that promised prosperity. Established in the late 19th century, the town quickly burgeoned into a bustling community, drawing prospectors and families alike with dreams of wealth and new beginnings. Streets were lined with wooden structures, saloon doors swung open to welcome weary miners, while children laughed in the schoolyard under the watchful eyes of their teachers. The air buzzed with the clinking of pickaxes and the chatter of commerce, a testament to human ambition and resilience. Yet this vibrancy was not to last. In the early 1920s, Black Hollow vanished as abruptly as it had risen. One autumn morning, the townsfolk simply disappeared, leaving behind eerily intact homes, untouched meals on dining tables, and shops stocked as if awaiting customers who would never come. No signs of struggle marred the scene, no bodies were found. It was as though the entire population had been spirited away by some unseen force. The only clue left behind was a cryptic message scrawled in chalk on the church door. The earth has claimed us. Over the decades, Black Hollow's disappearance became the stuff of legend, whispered about in hushed tones around campfires and studied by historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Some speculated that a catastrophic natural event, an earthquake or sinkhole, had swallowed the town whole. Others leaned toward more sinister explanations, suggesting foul play or even supernatural intervention. Despite numerous expeditions and investigations, no definitive answers emerged. Instead, the mystery only deepened, shrouded in unanswered questions and chilling possibilities. Now, nearly a century later, the ruins of Black Hollow remain hidden beneath layers of forest growth, an enigmatic relic of a bygone era. Its story lingers in the collective imagination, a haunting reminder of how swiftly human endeavors can be erased by forces beyond comprehension. For those brave enough to venture into its forgotten depths, Black Hollow promises both danger and discovery, a puzzle waiting to be unraveled by those willing to confront its secrets. Number 2, a reluctant return. Emma Carter stood at the edge of the dense forest, her breath catching as she gazed into the tangled expanse before her. She hadn't planned to return to Black Hollow, not after the nightmares that had plagued her childhood, nor after the strained relationship with her father, Henry, who had spent years obsessing over the town's mysterious disappearance. But now, standing here with the weight of his final wish pressing down on her, Emma felt the pull of duty stronger than ever. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Promise me you'll finish what I started." It wasn't just a request, it was a plea, delivered with trembling hands clutching a weathered journal filled with his meticulous notes and sketches of the town. Emma tightened her grip on the leather-bound book as memories flooded back. Growing up, she had watched her father pour every ounce of his energy into uncovering the truth about Black Hollow. His obsession had consumed him, isolating him from friends, family, and eventually even Emma herself. She remembered the long nights when he would sit at the kitchen table poring over maps and newspaper clippings, muttering theories about sinkholes, secret societies, and even curses. To a young Emma, it had all seemed like madness. But now, staring at the journal in her hands, she couldn't ignore the possibility that her father might have been onto something. Her motivation for returning wasn't purely altruistic. Beyond honoring her father's memory, Emma harbored a gnawing curiosity of her own. The stories of Black Hollow had always haunted her. The idea of an entire town vanishing without a trace struck her as both terrifying and inexplicable. As a journalist, she had built a career chasing mysteries, but none had ever hit so close to home. This was personal, and yet as she stepped into the forest, the weight of her decision settled heavily on her shoulders. What if she uncovered something she wasn't prepared to face? What if the answers she sought only deepened the void her father had left behind? The first few steps into the woods were unnerving. The sunlight barely pierced the thick canopy above, casting the ground in a dim, greenish hue. The air was cool and damp, carrying the faint scent of moss and decaying leaves. Emma adjusted the strap of her backpack, which held supplies, a flashlight, and a camera tool she hoped would help her document whatever she found. Each crunch of her boots against the forest floor felt deafening in the oppressive silence. She tried to shake the unease creeping up her spine, reminding herself that she was here for a purpose. Still, the deeper she ventured, the more the forest seemed to close in around her, as if it didn't want her to go any further. After what felt like hours of navigating through the labyrinth of trees, Emma finally stumbled upon the remnants of the old dirt road that led into Black Hollow. Overgrown with weeds and partially obscured by fallen branches, it was barely recognizable. She paused, her heart pounding as she traced the path with her eyes. Somewhere ahead lay the ruins of the town her father had devoted his life to studying. Somewhere ahead lay answers or perhaps more questions. Taking a deep breath, Emma pressed onward, her resolve hardening with each step. Whatever awaited her in Black Hollow, she was determined to find out. Number 3. Echoes of the Past. As Emma pushed through the final curtain of overgrown foliage, the skeletal remains of Black Hollow emerged before her like a ghostly mirage. The town was frozen in time, its buildings leaning precariously under the weight of decades of neglect. Wooden facades, warped and splintered, bore the scars of countless winters, their paint long since peeled away to reveal the raw timber beneath. Windows stared blankly into the void, their glass shattered or missing entirely, giving the impression of hollow eyes watching her every move. The air carried a peculiar stillness, as though the very atmosphere resisted the intrusion of sound. Even the rustle of leaves overhead seemed muted, as if nature itself conspired to preserve the eerie silence. Emma's footsteps crunched softly against the gravel-strewn main street, her flashlight cutting through the gloom to illuminate fragments of a life long abandoned. The general store stood at the heart of the town, its crooked sign creaking faintly in the breeze. Inside, shelves sagged under the weight of dust-covered cans and jars, their labels faded into illegibility. A cash register sat open on the counter, its drawer half filled with coins that glinted faintly in the beam of her light. Nearby, a child's doll lay sprawled on the floor, its porcelain face cracked and one eye missing, staring upward with a haunting vacancy. Further down the street, the saloon loomed like a specter of revelry past. Its swinging doors hung askew, swaying slightly as though stirred by invisible hands. Inside, overturned chairs and broken bottles littered the floor, evidence of a sudden departure. The bar itself was coated in a thick layer of grime, but Emma could still make out the faint outlines of glasses left behind, as though patrons had vanished mid-drink. Above the bar, a faded poster advertised a performance by a traveling musician, a nameless figure whose promise of entertainment now seemed tragically ironic. The church stood at the far end of the street, its steeple tilting precariously skyward. Its heavy wooden doors were ajar, revealing rows of pews covered in a fine layer of moss. At the altar, a Bible lay open, its pages brittle and yellowed. Emma hesitated before stepping inside, her flashlight trembling slightly in her hand. The chalk message her father had often spoken of was still visible on the doorframe. The words, "The earth has claimed us," stark and unyielding despite the passage of time. She traced the letters with her fingers, feeling an inexplicable chill run down her spine. Everywhere she turned, the town seemed to whisper its secrets, fragments of a life interrupted. Laundry still hung on lines stretched between houses, stiffened by years of exposure to the elements. A blackboard in the schoolhouse bore the remnants of lessons left incomplete, the chalk smudged but legible. Emma's camera clicked incessantly as she documented these remnants, her journalist's instincts driving her forward, even as her nerves screamed for retreat. Yet, amid the decay, was an undeniable sense of preservation, as though the town had been suspended in amber, untouched by time or scavengers. It was then that Emma noticed the footprints, faint impressions in the dust of the main street, leading toward the edge of town. They were too fresh to belong to her father's previous expeditions, and too deliberate to be accidental. Her pulse quickened as she followed them, her flashlight beam flickering nervously. The tracks led her to a narrow path that veered off into the woods where the underbrush was trampled, as though someone or something had recently passed through. Emma hesitated, torn between curiosity and caution. The town had already revealed more than she had anticipated. What lay beyond its borders might hold the key to its mystery or lead her deeper into danger. Number 4. Shadows in the ruins. Emma knelt beside the fresh human footprints, her flashlight trembling. Someone or something had been here recently. Could it be another explorer or something tied to the town's disappearance? She forced herself to follow the trail, noticing subtle disturbances in the vegetation and scuff marks on tree trunks. The path led to a small clearing with a crude stone altar at its center, stained dark and surrounded by unfamiliar symbols. Her stomach churned as she approached, recognizing the symbols from her father's journal labeled as ritualistic markings. A low, guttural sound broke the silence, causing her to freeze. Her flashlight illuminated nothing but dense underbrush as whispers filled the clearing. She spotted a leather-bound notebook beneath the altar, its cover embossed with a matching symbol. The entries inside, dated just before the town's disappearance, spoke of strange occurrences and ended with, "The earth is angry. It demands a sacrifice." The whispers coalesced into a single voice commanding her to leave. Emma bolted back toward the path, the whispers escalating behind her. She reached the town's ruins and barricaded herself in a building, her mind racing. The clues painted a horrifying picture. Black Hollow's disappearance was deliberate, ancient, and malevolent. Clutching the notebook and her father's journal, she resolved to piece together the remaining fragments of the puzzle, but couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Number 5. Unraveling the threads. Back in the saloon, Emma spread her findings on a dusty table, her hands trembling. The notebook from the altar contained accounts eerily aligning with her father's theories. Townsfolk hysteria grew due to wells running dry, crops wilting, and a pervasive dread. A preacher's entry stood out. "The land is cursed. We have awakened something ancient, something that does not forgive." Beneath it was a map with ritual locations matching her father's journal. Emma cross-referenced the map with her father's notes, realizing Black Hollow's prosperity was built on more than silver mining. Settlers had found strange artifact stone tablets with symbols like those at the altar. These relics were revered, and rituals intensified before the town vanished. The preacher's final entry read, "Tonight we offer ourselves. May the earth spare those who remain." Emma connected the dots to a mass sacrifice. Her father's journal hinted at indigenous legends of a spirit demanding respect and balance. Disruption invited calamity. Emma pondered if settlers' greed unleashed this force, driving townsfolk to extremes. Despite the grim clarity, Emma felt the story wasn't over. The whispers, shadows, and forest's weight suggested the entity was still present. Her father's journal ended abruptly, hinting at something too dangerous to record. Emma feared she was on the same perilous path. She glanced at the artifacts: the preacher's notebook, her father's journal, and a stone shard with a symbol. Each felt heavy with significance. Emma knew she had to leave before the entity targeted her. But a question lingered. What if the entity's influence extended beyond Black Hollow? The realization struck. Her father's obsession and her own compulsion, perhaps the entity had been guiding her. She felt an inexplicable urge to delve deeper. Gathering her resolve, Emma extinguished her flashlight, plunging the saloon into darkness. She would leave, but not before confronting the whisper's source. Number 6. The final revelation. Emma's exploration of Black Hollow was both harrowing and enlightening. With the preacher's notebook, her father's journal, and the stone shard, she returned to the clearing where the whispers had beckoned. The air bristled with electric tension. Placing the artifacts around the stone altar, she invoked names and symbols to summon the entity haunting the town's final days. As she finished the ancient chant, the ground trembled, and a chilling wind swept through. From the shadows emerged a swirling mass of darkness and light, a manifestation of the land's ancient guardian. It communicated through emotions and visions, showing Emma Black Hollow's past, the settlers' arrival, exploitation of the land, and desperate rituals. She witnessed the moment of sacrifice when townsfolk were swallowed by the earth, their cries mingling with the spirit's groans. Emma realized the entity was a force of balance, corrupted by human greed. Its anger was sorrow for the lost harmony. Its pleading for understanding, she offered the artifacts as tokens of apology. Slowly, the entity's form softened into gentle light. It conveyed the message that the cycle of destruction could be broken through acknowledgement and reverence. With a final surge, the entity dissolved into the earth, leaving a profound stillness. Returning to the ruins, Emma felt renewed purpose. The mystery of Black Hollow became a lesson in humility and respect for nature. At dawn, she left the forest with answers and vowed to share the town's tale as a reminder of humanity's fragile relationship with the earth. Number 7. The ripple effect. As Emma emerged from the forest, the first rays of sunlight breaking through the canopy, she felt transformed. The journey to Black Hollow had reshaped her understanding of the world and her place in it. The town's tragic fate highlighted humanity's hubris and the consequences of disrupting nature's balance. Emma realized her father's obsession was rooted in a desire to protect others from repeating past mistakes. His pursuit of truth was a response to profound injustice. The experience highlighted the interconnectedness of all things. The entity's sorrow, born of centuries of neglect, underscored the ripple effects of human actions. Emma now understood the settlers' choices had far-reaching repercussions, shaping her life. This awareness filled her with a sense of responsibility to honor her father's legacy and ensure Black Hollow's story wasn't forgotten. Emma returned to journalism with renewed vigor, crafting a meticulously researched article that intertwined historical records, her father's notes, and her experiences. The piece sparked discussions about environmental stewardship and the ethical implications of exploiting natural resources, captivating readers with the mystery of Black Hollow and its broader lessons. Though the entity's presence had receded, its message lingered. Emma resolved to explore similar stories, shining a light on forgotten places. Black Hollow had taught her the past lived on in people's choices and legacies. As she drafted her next article, Emma felt fulfilled. The town's tragedy had become a catalyst for change within herself and the wider world. Though the forest lay silent, its secrets safe, Emma knew its story would endure as a reminder of humanity's fragile bond with the earth. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you found this video intriguing. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay updated with more mysterious tales. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and stay cautious.